Good morning, planet Earth. I'm Mango Thunderslice, and this is the weekly Anarchist news for October 30th, 2016. It is Halloween, or at least almost Halloween, otherwise known as Samhain in the Druidic tradition, and 9 days away from a pivotal election in the United States, where the people of the United States will decide who they want to be their president, Miss Hillary Clinton or Mr. Donald Trump. You know, Halloween, or otherwise known as Samhain, is supposedly the point when the world of the living and the world of the dead, the spirit world, are at their closest point. You know, so that's where the whole mysticism about Halloween comes out. People put on their costumes because they're trying to ward off and move among the spirits that are moving around us. And yes, the world of the living and the world of the dead are so close that dead people are even coming out and voting in the presidential election for Hillary Clinton. So yes, this is a very interesting time in history. Lots of things are happening. As of Friday, the FBI, James Comey, sent a memo to the United States Congress saying that they were reopening the case against Hillary Rodham Clinton over her email server. You really can't make this stuff up, okay? They found emails, tens of thousands of them, hidden on Mr. Weiner, Mr. Anthony Weiner's laptop, and he's being investigated for, you know, sending like pornography to an underage girl. Real classy fellow, of course. You know, Hillary's married to Bill Clinton, a serial rapist, and her closest top little confidant, Huma Abedin, is married to Anthony Weiner, the total scumbag of the highest degree or lowest degree, depending on your perspective. You know, these are really women that are fighting for the struggle of women, you know, by marrying scumbags. You know, it's like, maybe you should focus on your own little household before you try and start fixing the problems for all the women of the nation and all the women of the world. But anyway, that's a minor point. But this is a huge, pivotal, thing to happen, only 9 days away from the election. And now, you know, especially for the independents we're kind of waffling, you know, they don't like Trump, but, you know, the fact that, you know, Hillary is so untrustworthy, obviously, you know, kind of dissuades them, and this might be the tipping point for a lot of them. And, you know, I've already made the call that I think Trump's going to win by a huge margin, and I think I know all the polls are fake. All you have to do is look at the numbers that are behind the polls to realize it's all just a scam. But, you know, it's getting very real, and the title of this video is Why Trump Doesn't Matter. Okay, I said last time that Trump will win, but this video is to reiterate something very important, that this is not about Trump, okay? This is not about the election itself. The real thing that's happening right now is not in the election. It's not out there. It's inside the minds of the American people, where they are finally acting on the knowledge that they've had for some time that they do live in an oligarchy. It's not a republic. It's not a democracy. It can't even pretend to be those things anymore. It is a corrupt oligarchy, and this is kind of the apocalypse, which means the lifting of the veil. All the truth is coming out. This WikiLeaks thing is just one manifestation of it. And now we've got Mr. Weiner ruining the whole parade for Hillary. I mean, the universe has a sense of humor. This creator, or whoever, whether you're religious or not, you gotta appreciate the irony of all this. It's beautiful. But, you know, shit's getting real within the minds of the American people. You know, people are going crazy. While Donald Trump's supporters are characterized as the violent, crazy ones, there was a guy who went with a pickaxe in Hollywood and basically took out, the Donald Trump star, you know, all the celebrities that got their stars on the sidewalk, and he basically destroyed Donald Trump's star. Like, yeah, you go get him. That's totally gonna stop the Trump train, taking out his star. And so there was a homeless woman who supports Trump, a black homeless woman who supports Trump, and she was really, you know, mad about this. And so she kind of set up camp right near where the star was, and basically had some signs up talking about, you know, how there's 20 million illegal immigrants in the country, and, but there's people living on the streets, and, you know, I'm not necessarily going to get into the whole issues with all that, but the fact is she was just a homeless black woman with all of her worldly possessions right there, and she was camping out next to the star and just trying to make a point. And you had all these sad, pathetic, angry liberals, progressives, standing around making fun of her, beating her, hurting her, knocking her over, talking shit to her, like telling her she's a moron, and then like, you know, some fat Mexican comes up and like pushes her over and like tears her signs. These are the absolute most pathetic people on the planet, and you know, these are the rank and file of Hillary's supporters. So that really speaks to the quality of this campaign, and they want to paint Trump again as the crazy guy. But look at this shit. I mean, seriously, and nobody stood up for her. There was one angry white liberal who was like, man, she's in a bad situation and she needs help. You know, and then when he gets like confronted by a few other people, he's like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend anyone by standing up for a homeless person. Like, it's pathetic. The fact that not only were these people doing that, but there was nobody around who was willing to intervene and stand up for her. I'll tell you what, I'm willing to run the risk of being in a squad car to take out some of these faggots. Like, I'd punch that fat Mexican right in his chubby little nose. It's a great feeling when you can punch somebody in their chubby face and they deserve it, you know. I'm not a belligerent person, but I have been in fights, and I've been in fights with people who should have the advantage on me, and I'll let you, you know, wonder what happened, but I wasn't the loser. And I'm not trying to brag, I'm just trying to say that it's important to stand up for people, okay? No matter what the politics, okay? I don't care if she was a Hillary Clinton supporter and somebody destroyed Hillary Clinton's star if she had one. It's totally inappropriate to just like start like beating people and harassing them just because of their views, okay? And it's just really sad. So, you know, but at the same time, this is revealing the schism, that it's not the people who want a restoration of the American Republic who are the crazy, angry, racist, you know, pathetic scumbags. It's these loser, welfare-ridden, just like, you know, pathetic people who have no sense of purpose in their lives, who are just spewing hate all the time. I mean, living here in LA is a very interesting experience for an anarchist like myself. I think people see my hair and they just assume that I'm a Democrat, and they just start talking shit on Trump and talking great things about Hillary to me, like, and I'm just standing there like, oh, all right. You know, it's like, I'm not in love with Trump, but the fact is he is the embodiment of rage against the establishment, and he is, like many have alluded, a hand grenade that we are all throwing into DC, and I can't wait to see what happens, because he's going to be president, and I'm going to be excited about that. I am excited about that. And so, you know, stuff is going on. The internet attack, the internet was like attacked all over the country, and it like brought down a lot of major websites, basically overloading them with data. They traced it back to some Chinese cameras, I guess. All these devices that have now been, you know, internet connected can now be hacked into and used as like an army of robots to take down the internet, apparently. So maybe Mr. Old Joe Biden, which is, we're going to launch a totally secret cyber attack on Russia. Yeah, we're going to launch a secret attack. I'm telling you all, we're launching a secret attack on Russia using computers. What kind of stupid charade is this? Like, I know politics is theater, but this is entering the whole realm of the absurd at this point. So maybe that's kind of a warning from China and Russia, like, we can absolutely devastate your internet on a moment's notice if we really want to. Who knows? It's all speculation. Nobody knows. Except for the NSA maybe, but they don't say much. Julian Assange goes silent. Nobody's really heard from him in like 2 weeks. You know, who knows? Maybe Hillary actually followed through on her desire to drone the bastard, as she said. And who knows? But Ecuador has cut the internet connection for him inside the embassy. Who knows? He might even already been taken out at this point. You know, and WikiLeaks is in a precarious position. You know, people, the Republicans are really excited about it now, you know, that it's supporting their side. Of course, that wasn't always the case, and it was only a little while ago that the progressives in the media were talking wonderful things about WikiLeaks until they started talking shit on Hillary Clinton. But, you know, ultimately, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks have been, you know, kind of suspected as being kind of a CIA operation in, like, the conspiracy world. They're very distrustful of WikiLeaks, because technically, you know, compared to some of the other whistleblowers that have come out, like William Binney, who basically designed the whole data collection program. He oversaw like hundreds of people within the NSA. He's the real NSA whistleblower, and he's the one who's saying that it's not Russia who's hacking the emails of Hillary Clinton. It's actually an NSA employee. You know, and this is really kind of the schism within the elite that I think a lot of people are missing. I've alluded to in past videos, but I feel that it's important just to reiterate the fact that there's no such thing as a singular, one big monolithic club, the Illuminati, the elites. It's not to say that there aren't secret societies and they're doing all this crazy shit, you know, in the shadows and behind the curtain. But it's not just one club, guys. It's like your children living in a Disneyland of conspiracies to assume that everybody's on the same team and everybody takes the same marching orders and everybody just has the same purposes and intent. No, there's a war going on at the top of the pyramid, a war behind the curtain of people who are loyal to the banking cabal and, you know, that whole set of scumbags who have been basically raping and pillaging the planet for the last 100 years. They've been doing it for a long time, but it's really taken off in the last 100 years. And now there's a sort of rebel faction, a rebel alliance, if you will, of people even within the military-industrial complex, within the deep state, within, you know, all these secret societies who are tired of their shit. And it's basically what we're witnessing is ripples on the curtain by this fight going on behind it. And so, you know, people are wondering if WikiLeaks is the CIA, then why are they, you know, releasing documents that are bad about Hillary Clinton? And, you know, why is all this happening? How did Trump even get to the point where he's at? You know, they try and paint Trump as Illuminati because he went to the Al Smith dinner, which is like a Catholic, you know, Jesuit thing for all the, you know, super rich, elite class New Yorkers. And, you know, it's just a very simplistic, you know, analysis to assume that because Bill Clinton and Donald Trump and Michael Bloomberg went golf together, that they're all on the same team and they all have the same motivations. People play golf. They go to dinners together, okay? People of lots of different, you know, persuasions gather in rooms. That doesn't mean they're all on the same team. It's very, very likely that Trump is supported by some faction of the deep state, of the, you know, military-industrial complex. But the point is that they're not in line with Hillary, and this is a rebel. There's a rebel alliance is going against the empire. I think that's a valid metaphor for what's going on. And, you know, people are suspecting if Trump is maybe like a Trojan horse, he's really controlled by the Illuminati and they've allowed him to get to this point. Still, it's this schizophrenic worldview that can't actually accept that maybe there's like different factions within the so-called Illuminati. There's different, you know, groups that are kind of jockeying for influence and power. You know, but ultimately it doesn't matter if Trump is controlled by someone. I don't think he is. I think he's probably associated with a group. But, I mean, it doesn't really matter because if Trump gets elected, when Trump gets elected, they are invoking the spirit of American liberty. This is a genie. Once you pull it out of the bottle, it's not just going to go back in. It's not like, oh, Trump's going to say, oh, now we're going to have martial law and we're going to take away all of your civil liberties. That people are just like, okay, he's Trump, so let's do that. No, he is assuming leadership over an organic movement, not a ruler over a fawning sycophant cult like Hillary Clinton, who there are no legitimate reasons to vote for her. It's just this, I'm with her, she has a vagina, and president, middle class. It's meaningless, okay? The only people who really actually support her at this point are those who are hopelessly programmed by the media. Most of the people who are voting for her are disaffected, you know, Bernie Sanders voters who are just begrudgingly voting for her because they're afraid of losing their free shit, you know, different welfare, or, you know, the cultural Marxists and, you know, the social justice warriors who don't want to lose their Marxist bubble of, you know, induced by the media where you can't face any criticism whatsoever because you're a minority. You know, I'm not racist, I'm not prejudiced, but it's reached the crescendo of absurdity, okay? It's been 8 years of rule by social justice warriors and their political correctness, and the whole fucking nation is sick of it. And what you see in Trump, in a large part, is just people in their personal lives just expressing this frustration against this madness, okay? These social justice warriors have no legitimate complaints anymore. Gay marriage has been legalized, okay? Women have, for all intents and purposes, they have pay equality when you actually compare same type of job to same type of job, okay? When you just do the general men versus women, men and women do different types of work because we're naturally different complementary aspects of the human being, of the human frame. And so, you know, when you really look at the numbers, side by side, women and men have achieved gender equality in the United States. And, when you're railing about all this stuff that doesn't exist, it makes you look like an idiot. And that's where we're at. So, basically, moving on, it's really a choice between war and it's a choice between war and corruption with Hillary Clinton and peace and liberty with Donald Trump, and joining hands with Russia and destroying the CIA-backed ISIS terrorists in the Middle East. And it's not about the candidates themselves. It's revealed the schism that there are millions and millions of Americans ready to stand up, defend their freedom. And at the same time, there are also millions and millions of willing slaves who don't care about facts, they don't care about freedom, they don't care about civil liberties, they don't care about logic or anything that'll impede on their little Disney bubble. But guess what? This bubble is about to get pricked, all right? And that's it for today. Just kind of a synopsis of what's going on, and I'm about to get started on another video that should offend plenty of people, the social justice warriors and Muslims alike, and in which case I'll consider that a resounding success. So I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. If you've been looking at the shirt, I'll post a link down below. It's made by, the design's made by a friend of mine, Jason, and he's got his group Mind Honey. He's a tremendously talented graphic designer. But yeah, have a great week, wholeness and balanced vibrations, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.